Despite a striking resemblance to the villain in the cult classic The Goonies, there is no debating that Zdeno Chara's hockey skills outshine his looks. On this week's Four Downs, we're asking, is he even tradable? We welcome back Cousin Vinny, Sean McMahon, Anthony Corneli. Great to see you guys. Talk about a big man. He's one of the greatest shutdown defensemen this game has seen in a long time, but is he even tradable?
I think absolutely. I mean, there's still a lot of value for him, and I think it's on the trade market. At this point, I don't know if I'll make fans, in the Bruins community, but they're probably not going to win the Stanley Cup this year.
No. Yeah.
So safe to say that if they're going to continue to rebuild, and I think they are at the start of a rebuilding phase, they're probably better served, if they can, to deal a guy like Zdeno Chara, who the closer he gets to 40, he's not as valuable to them.
But I don't think it's a panic time just yet.
I think it's getting close.
He can bring a lot to the table. I think you're right. I think they're still looking at the playoff. Mm-hmm. They are seated 8th in the East. They still have a shot at the playoffs. If they were maybe in 10th, 11th, 12th, then maybe it's time to press the panic button. But he can still bring a lot to this team.
I have to disagree, guys. I have to disagree. I mean, at $7 million on cap, I don't think he's a luxury that teams can afford right now. Even if you're a contender going into the Stanley Cup playoffs, nobody's looking at a 6'9", beat-up veteran who's missed 19 games.
Right, but yet a runner-up for the Norris Trophy last year.
Guys.
Mm-hmm. So he's not far away from that either.
I think he's still trade bait, though. No. I mean, there's got to be somebody out there who wants him. And let's be honest, he's been with Boston, almost 10 years? Mm-hmm. Almost 10 years?
2006, I believe.
Won the Cup. Yeah. He got a Norris Trophy. I mean, what more could he bring to the table?
His body's just too big. With all the injuries he had to deal with in the last few years, he's taken a beating. You don't recuperate fast from that at 38 years old.
Yet, if you poll NHL players, which they did recently, and ask who do you hate playing against and who's the most difficult, intimidating presence on the ice, Zdeno Chara's at the top of the list. Guys don't like playing Zdeno Chara. They don't like playing
Guys
against
are just as big and if not faster than he is. His game is old school hockey, and that's not the game anymore.
Name me one defenseman in your eyes that'd be a bigger shutdown defenseman than Zdeno Chara right now.
Weber.
Not as much of a physical presence as Zdeno Chara.
Just picture this guy in a Habs uniform right now. Think about it.
It's a big uniform.
On the power play, it's a big uniform.
Biggest one we've ever seen.
You put him in front of the net or just for a shot. And no, he's not a 1-2 guy anymore, let's be honest. He's more of a 3-4. I think he can fill a role on another
But that's
team,
to your point as well. At that price, he can't really be a number 3 or a number 4. He's got to be in your top 2. But if you're in Bruins front office, you have to think not necessarily short-term, but long-term, and they need to start banking assets. And the guy who's going to get you the assets right now is a guy potentially like Zdeno Chara, because I don't think that Tuukka Rask is going anywhere.
But there's bigger holes to void, because you look at Milan Lucic at $6 million. He's a bigger issue than Zdeno Chara right now. He's not producing to his guy. I mean, there are a lot more issues with the Boston Bruins just with Zdeno Chara. The question is, he's got $7 million cap hit. Last year of his contract, however, is $4 million. So you quote-unquote get some sort of deal if he does put this up in terms of consistency over the next couple of years. But the idea behind Zdeno Chara is, can he bring something to a team that's in dire need of a defensive core?
Absolutely.
And the question is, yes.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Really?
For sure.
He's got 4 goals in 40 games. He's missed the last 19 games before the All-Star break. How is he going to go into the stretch?
It is his lowest output.
How is he going to go into the stretch? His plus-minus was a huge thing in his career. He's 0 right now. Plus-minus is 0. How is he going to go into the stretch? And if he does get traded to a contender, what is he going to add?
But you make it sound like he's 3-4 years off playing in great form. He was the runner-up last year. I mentioned it before.
Absolutely.
Last year.
Fine. But
what have you done for me lately?
What have you done for you? Okay, all right.
Size, grit, shot, any team can benefit from it.
And even at his age, he's still logging big minutes. I mean, he's still pulling in 24, 25, 26 minutes. It might not be 30, 31 like he used to be.
this year.
So he can still put in the minutes. And I don't know if there's a single team out there that if you offered the right package for a guy like Zdeno Chara, they would say no. Why would you say no to that? Especially if you're planning on going deep into the playoffs. That's exactly who you want sitting on the bench.
And that's why I don't think it's time for panic for the Boston Bruins either. Like I said, they still got a chance at the playoff run, so we'll see what happens. Stay with us. We're continuing on. We're switching gears. We're going to our pretender or contender segment. You don't want to miss it. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Read Between the Lines is brought to you by EliteSportsTours.ca. What are you doing this weekend?